welcome to another live lesson. I'm Chris Pell, founder of IELTS Advantage, and today what we're going to focus on is Task 2. Specifically, we're going to look at a real question and we're going to do a plan for it. I'm going to do a plan live, and I'm going to show you my screen and everything, and show you how I would plan an essay. But for that, just let me check Facebook to make sure that we are actually live and everything is working okay, and then we can begin. So yeah, everything seems to be okay. So why do this today? Why show you planning? Many of you, when I'm from teaching in classrooms for many years and from teaching on my online courses, when I mention planning, people are a bit resistant to it, and the reason for that is they think it's a waste of time. So timing is obviously an issue in the test. In all parts of the test, timing is an issue, but especially for the writing test. Basically, if you don't have enough time to finish your task 2 or finish your task 1, you're not really going to get the score that you need if you're wanting to get 7 or above. Especially those high scores, it's pretty difficult to get those really high scores if you can't finish your essay on time or finish your task 1 on time. But planning is probably the number one way, my best piece of advice for actually managing your time effectively in task 2. If you plan effectively and you plan properly, which I'm going to show you in a minute, you will have so much more time to get everything finished. It's really true. Basically, I know a lot of you are thinking, that's nonsense. How could spending less time writing mean that I finish my writing on time? That sounds crazy. It sounds it's complete nonsense. Believe me, it is true. Every single person that I've taught that has got a band 8 or 8.5 or 9 in writing, they all planned, and they all planned for more than 5 minutes. That is the one thing that they have in common. So why does planning help you with timing? So imagine that you land in a very strange city. So imagine you're in London for the first time and you're trying to find your hotel in London. Alright, so which one would be faster? Would it be faster to get in a taxi or say hire a car and just drive around London hoping that you find your hotel? Either you will never find it, or it's going to take you hours and hours and hours to find. Or what happens is, if you have your smartphone and you just put in the address of your hotel, and Google Maps took you exactly the correct route, and it took you exactly where you needed to go. Making a plan for both task 1 and task 2 is kind of like having Google Maps in for your writing task. It will tell you exactly what to do and exactly where to go. So even though you're investing 5 to 10 minutes at the start planning, it is going to save you so much time when you actually start writing. And I haven't met any students who could just go in and write a band 8, band 9 essay without thinking about it first. It's pretty much impossible. Because if you start writing immediately, what happens is you're thinking and then you're writing and then you're thinking and then you're writing and then you change your mind and then you delete lots of stuff and then you get lost and you think and then you write. And it's just such a time waste. It's a really inefficient use of your time to do your test like that. The way I teach my students is do 90% of your thinking during the planning stage and then focus on writing. So you're just thinking and then you're writing. And then when you're writing, you're just following your plan and you're focusing on getting it all correct, and you're focusing on your grammar, you're focusing on your vocabulary and getting everything correct. As it's, there's so many different things that you have to think about when you're doing your test. Basically, the fewer things that you think about, the better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a real question, and I'm going to talk you through how I would plan out that question, and that's going to help you plan out your own essays. So just let me check again before we go in. So 126 people are live, so thank you very much to the 126 people. A lot of you are asking questions. That's great. Thank you very much for your questions. But leave them until the end. I can't teach, read, answer questions, work all of this technology at the same time. I can only focus on one thing at a time. So if I'm not answering your questions, it's because I'm teaching. But I will answer your questions at the end if I have time. Okay, so let me show you the question and show you what we're going to do today. So this question was asked, I think, about a month ago. It's a real question that was reported by one of the students in my VIP group, and it says, roads are becoming increasingly busy as the number of cars increases. In order to change this trend, strict road tolls should be paid on busy roads. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, so I'm going to go through different stages of planning. And this is going to take me 15 to 20 minutes to do. But in the real test, it wouldn't take me 15 to 20 minutes because I'm not doing it and teaching at the same time. Alright, so don't think, oh, that took you so much time, I could never do that in the real test. Just bear in mind that I am teaching and doing a live demo at the same time, so it's obviously going to take me more time. Alright, so number one is understanding the question. Excuse me, I just need I have hay fever at the moment. Sorry. Excuse me. Alright, understanding the question. The next stage is ideas. The next stage is structure, and if we have time, so this is like an optional be vocab. Alright, and I'll show you each of these stages. So you might be thinking already, this is just a lot to do in the first 5 to 10 minutes. When you first start, like when you're learning anything new, it is going to take you longer. Like I always encourage my students to study slow then fast. Like take your time when you're learning something new and then build up to exam speed. So don't be put off that there are a number of different things to do. Once you practice them, it will really make a huge difference to your essays, and you'll be able to get them done properly. Okay, so first thing we need to do is understand the question. So basically, we don't need to write anything down, but what we want to do is we want to understand this part of the question. We want to understand the specifics of this question, and then we want to understand what the examiners want us to do. Okay, so roads are becoming increasingly busy as the number of cars increases. In order to change this trend, strict road tolls should be paid on busy roads. Alright, so when I gave this question to a number of my students, one of the big mistakes was they started to talk about things like global warming, they started talking about air pollution and things like that. That's not really what the question is specifically asking you about. The question is about road tolls. If you don't know what they are, road tolls are when the government or the city charges you for using a specific road or a specific area of the city. So it is basically about road tolls and road tolls only. If you start talking about other things, you're kind of veering off the question. A good way that if you don't understand the question is kind of reframe it. Ask it in a simpler way. So to reframe the question, it would be, would strict road tolls solve the congestion problem? So there's a problem with congestion, with traffic jams. Would road tolls solve this problem? Yes or no? If it is yes, you would agree, and if it is no, you disagree. So you're simplifying the question. You're understanding exactly what it is about. What is the general topic? So the general topic is traffic jams and how to manage them, but the specific thing is about road tolls, and would road tolls solve this problem? So once you've understood understood that, what you need to do is you need to look at what the examiner is asking you to do. So you need to look at what type of question it is. So is it a problem solution, advantages, disadvantages, what is it? There are many different types of questions. So this one is just, do you agree or disagree? At least one of you I know is probably asking, how does it change when they say, to what extent do you agree or disagree? If you see a question that says, do you agree or disagree? Or to what extent do you agree or disagree? Just treat it in the exact same way. Okay? You don't have to change it at all. You don't have to worry about it. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so the next stage, once we've understood the question, is ideas. Alright? So there are a number of ways that we could think of ideas, and I'm just going to think of them in a very easy way. Alright? I'm just going to think of them by asking myself a direct question. Alright? So if I agree with it, why? Alright? 2 reasons. Just think of 2 reasons why I would agree with it. Alright? If I disagree with it, just think of 2 reasons. Alright? So I would just ask myself a direct question. Alright? Why do I disagree with this? Why do I agree with this? Alright? It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. I have, really complex ways of thinking of ideas, but for this purpose, for the purpose of this, we're really focusing on planning, and we're just going to keep it as simple as possible. So which one should you choose? Should you choose agree, or should you choose disagree? The one thing I would say is, it doesn't matter how you personally feel about that. Alright? It doesn't matter that you personally feel that it is a good idea, or that you completely disagree with it. It should be, which one can you write about? Which one do you have ideas for? Which one can you explain those ideas? Which one can you think of examples for those ideas? Alright, so for me, I could think of 2 reasons for this one. So it's effective, it actually works, and it's easy to collect the money. Alright, I could think of those 2, those would be my 2 main ideas. Alright, I could also think of 2 more ideas for this one. I'm not going to do that in the real test, I'm just showing you that it's very possible. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to agree with it, I'm going to disagree with it. Alright, because I'm more comfortable writing about this. So I need to think of 2 ideas. So my first main idea is, it doesn't work. It's not effective. The second main idea, the reason why I disagree, it's difficult to collect the money. Okay, so that's my idea generation done. It doesn't need to be any more difficult than that. Alright, so the first main idea is, I disagree because it's not effective, it doesn't work. And my second main idea is, it's difficult to collect the money. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is, we need to put it into a structure. And again, you're not going to be, obviously because I'm teaching, I'm writing a lot more than you will actually write in the real test when you're planning. You don't need to write out this amount of information. It's just I can't, use shorthand and just scribble things down, because I'm teaching. I'm going to be showing you a lot more. So structure, we're going to start off with the introduction. The thing we're going to do there is, we're going to paraphrase the question. I'm going to state our opinion, and it's optional, you don't have to do this, but I like to get my students to do it for many different reasons, which I'm not going to get into. Outline main ideas. Okay, so this is disagree, this is okay, so that's my introduction done. So main body 1. And again, I'm writing a lot here. You won't write this amount in the real test. So how am I going to explain this? Alright, say most rich people Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just making it really, really easy for myself by mapping out exactly what I'm doing. Alright, and then we have to use an example. And the example we're going to use is London. Okay, so they have a congestion charge. So we'll use that as the example. Alright. And you'll see that this isn't, this obviously isn't my essay. What I'm just doing is I'm doing all my thinking, I'm doing all my preparation so that it's really, it would be really simple and really quick for me to write that main body paragraph once I have it all mapped out like that. And again, you won't be doing that level of writing, but it's just to show you what you'll be doing. Alright, so main body 2, topic sentence, difficult to collect, explanation, so collection at booze causes traffic jams, without booze you have to use voluntary enforcement. Right, so imagine that you have a city with lots of booze collecting money. They're going to cause traffic jams, so it kind of defeats the whole purpose. And then we'll use the example of unpaid fines in a city. So you could choose any city, Sydney, New York, wherever, and just talk about how they use voluntary system, and lots of the fines or lots of the tolls go unpaid because it's voluntary. Alright, so that's all done. And you could, it doesn't have to, I don't have to have like an encyclopedic knowledge of the world. And what you're doing with the examples is you're just showing the examiner that you know how to use an example. So you could make it up. If you're making it up, make sure that it is plausible and that it is believable and does support your main idea. Conclusion. Okay, so that's it done. Alright, that's the whole structure. So that took me, what time is it? 1:18. Like that took me a significant amount of time to do. But what you're doing is you're investing time in mapping everything out so that it's easy for you during the writing stage. And you're not worrying about your ideas, you're not worrying about how to explain anything or examples, because they're already there for you. And when you get used to doing this, you can do it in 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't take that much time. So this is the optional. Some people don't like to do this. I do like to do it. I know a number of students do like to do it, so I wanted to add it in. I find it very difficult to focus on many different things at the same time. So I find it really easy to spend like 1 minute or 2 minutes just looking at some of the key vocabulary in the question and thinking about synonyms that I could use and the language that I could use in the test. And then what I can do is I can use that list as a reference when I'm writing my essay and when I'm checking it later. Okay, so roads, so we could use highways, we could have streets, we could have roadways, just a few different ideas. So busy, congested, traffic jams, clogged. Again, doesn't need to be that much. Growing, growth, worsening, heavier. I'm thinking about collocations like worsening traffic, heavier traffic. Collocations are always important. Tolls could be fines, be congestion charge, be toll booths. Again, thinking about collocations and penalties. Okay, so again, that took me like 1 minute to do, and what I'm doing, it's obviously going to take maybe you 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but it's a nice little resource to have, instead of having to write and then stop every minute or stop every 2 minutes to try and think of a synonym. All right, instead of doing that, just spend 1 minute, 2 minutes, and as always for this one, it's totally optional. All right, you might be running out of time and you just need to get going, but once you get used to this whole process, once you get used to understanding the question, then thinking of ideas, sticking it into a structure, and then if you have time, vocabulary, you could do this in between 5 and 10 minutes. And what I've noticed is the students that got the very, very top marks that I've taught before, the better they were, kind of the longer they practiced. I've had a few students who've got a band 9 and they all planned for like 10 minutes. It was a huge part of the reasons why they got a 9. Also, thing to note, structure. This structure is specifically what I teach for agree or disagree essays. It is going to be different for advantages, disadvantages, problem solution, double questions, discuss both views. I just chose one particular question to give you an idea of what I was doing, a better idea. Okay, so how long did that take me? So it's 20 past. So that probably took me, like 15 minutes to explain everything. In the test, that if I was doing the test or one of my students in my VIP group, it would take them between 5 and 10 minutes to do. And as I said again and again and again, many of you are probably thinking, I won't have time to do that in my test. Please just give it a try. So next time you are planning, and if you really, really want to give it a try, like pick one agree or disagree question and pick another agree or disagree question. Do one with a plan, like spend 10 minutes doing a plan, and then do one without a plan, and see the difference in the amount of time that you have to write it, and also the quality of your essay. I've found that people who plan also produce better language. They make fewer errors because they're focusing just 100% completely on their writing, and instead of like thinking about like, oh, what's the structure and what ideas and how do I explain this and what vocabulary am I going to use, they're just really, really focusing on what they're doing. And if you think about it, even if you plan for 10 minutes, and even if you check your work for 5 minutes at the end, so that's 15 minutes that you're not writing. That leaves you with 25 minutes to write your essay. So say your essay is 12 sentences, 13 sentences long, 14 sentences long, excuse me, that's like 2 minutes per sentence. So if you think about it logically that way, you should be able to write a sentence in 2 minutes if you're hoping to get a high score. Alright, so let me know if you have any questions. I'll check the questions here. We have 51 comments, so a lot. So if you have Facebook do not allow you to see the old ones. So if you have a question, ask it now, and then I will be able to help you out. But before I do, let me just show you something, because I'm going to be referring to this again and again. If you go to my website, so the free website, IELTSadvantage.com, all your questions are basically answered on these pages. So you have writing task 1, writing task 2, speaking. But if you need like a lot of help, just go to FAQ and contact at the bottom. And we have all the frequently asked questions here. So like basically the same questions come up again and again and again. So we've got you covered here. And also say you wanted to find like task 2 introduction. Or let's say task 2 examples. You'd be able to just search, and this searches the whole website. Oh, must be something wrong with that. That's the beauty of doing something live. I must ask my developer to check why that's not working. I'll do that. But another way you could do that is just to Google it. So IELTS Advantage examples, and you'll see the first one that comes up, examples, and it will take you back to the site and show you. So you can Google IELTS Advantage plus anything. Also at the moment we have this, which is a free course. So it's a free 5-day challenge. You can click on that and you can join our free 5-day challenge. It's 5 videos. Each video is about 30 minutes long, showing you exactly what to do, showing you what you need if you want to get a band 7 in a task 2 opinion essay. So check that out if you want to. Okay, so let me see if there are any questions. First question comes from Sam. Hi Chris, I need 8 speaking. What can be the process, please? So that's like a really big question. Like I have an IELTS speaking course and it teaches people that, but it takes like 10 hours to explain everything. Basically, step 1, if you're wanting to get a band 8, would be find a teacher that knows IELTS and knows the marking criteria, and do a mock speaking test with them. And they'll tell you, okay, here's the 4 criteria, here's what you got a 7 for this, you got an 8 for this, you got a 6 for this, this is the reason why you got it, and in order to improve, this is what you need to do. That would be my best piece of it. I could give you a better answer, but in a short question and answer session, I can't really do that. But head to IELTS Advantage, look at all the speaking resources, and have a look there. So let me see if there are any more questions. No. Or maybe I'm not getting the questions. Let me see. In which essay do we use template? Don't use templates. Don't copy essays. You'll get a band 0 if you do. In the essay in general, easier or more difficult than the academic essay. Task 2 is pretty much the same. It's marked exactly the same. So there's not one that's easier than the other. My IELTS score is 8.5. Well done. What are you doing here? If you got 8.5, go and live your life. You've got 8.5 in IELTS, then you don't really need to be here wasting your time. Roy, my problem is that I can't think of any ideas, even in my own language. Is it okay I make it up? Make up ideas? I don't really understand what you mean by make up ideas, but what I've found is when people say that they can't think of ideas, when you actually ask them, they can. I've never met anybody who couldn't think of, once I actually taught them properly, that they couldn't think of ideas properly. The number one problem is that people think that it has to be some really complex, impressive, academic idea. The best ideas are just the simplest, straightforward, easy ideas to think of. So if you switch the way that you think about idea generation in that way, there are no marks for impressive ideas. There are no marks for amazing ideas. There are marks for ideas that actually answer the question and are linked to the specific question. So if you change the way you think about that, and you also look at real IELTS questions, don't go to websites that make up questions, and some of the websites are good, most of them aren't. If you look at actual real IELTS questions, they're not that difficult, and it's pretty easy to think of ideas. If you're asking a really, really, really complex, long question, I'm not going to answer it, because I want to answer as many questions as possible, and I don't think it's very good for people just to watch me try to figure out what you mean for 10 minutes. Lady Farah Lad. In a discussion essay, are we not going to give our opinion? Yes, you are. You are going to give your opinion, because it says discuss both views and give your opinion. So there's 3 things you need to do there. You need to discuss view 1, discuss view 2, and give your opinion. If you don't do all 3 of those, you haven't answered the question. Faris, Chris, after topic sentence in writing, the reason have to be stated directly or extended with 1 or 2 sentences. I don't really know what you mean, but after a topic sentence, just explain that topic sentence. Just give an explanation. It could be 1 sentence, could be 2 sentences, but you're just explaining it. Imagine that you're explaining it to somebody who knows nothing about that topic, and you're explaining what it means. Tanvir, is it okay to write examples on studies conducted? It is, but you have to be very, very careful that they're believable. Especially if you're using statistics and stuff like that. Musab, I'm preparing to take an IELTS test next month. I'm wondering if you can suggest any online preparation courses. Yes, mine. We don't have many places available at the moment. My suggestion would be to go to IELTS Advantage, do the free course, and see whether you like the way I teach. And then if at the end of the free course, if you want to join the not free course, you can. Layla, I have no time to write 250 words of the second part of writing. So there's many different reasons why that might be, but try planning everything out. It is there are many, many reasons why you might be running out of time. I'd have to look at your writing, but most of the time it is because people are not planning everything out, and they're spending too much time thinking and too much time getting lost instead of actually writing. Dima, every time I lose half a point either in writing or reading, what to do in order to avoid this? I need at least 7. So a very common problem that people need a 7 and they keep getting 6.5. If you keep getting 6.5, that is your level. If you got 6.5 3 times in a row, you got 6.5 because that is your score. If you need to get a 7, the first thing you need to do is just stop doing the test again and again and again. If you just keep doing the test, you're going to get 6.5 again and again and again. What you need to do is you need to stop doing the test and figure out why you're getting 6.5 and why you're not getting a 7. So show an IELTS expert your writing, show an IELTS expert or not show, do a speaking test, do a writing test with them, and have them look at what you've produced, and they should be able to specifically tell you why you're getting 6.5 and then give you advice on how to move up to a 7. But don't expect just by doing the test multiple times that you'll get the score you need. Lady Farah Lad, in problem solution essay, are we not going to give our opinion? If it says what are the solutions and what are the problems, so it says what do you think are the problems. If you state the problem, that's giving your opinion. By stating the problem, when it says what do you think are the problems, you're already giving your opinion. You don't have to say like in my opinion or anything like that, but if it says what are the problems, what are the solutions, and you give the problems and solutions, the problems and the solutions are your opinion. It's because it's what you think they are. Should I use phrasal verbs in task 1 general IELTS? Yes for an informal letter, no for a formal letter. Rebs, I'm going to have my review in the Philippines by next week while working, and I'm having a hard time to write an essay. What else can I do? I don't know what you mean by reviewing. I hear a lot of students say that I'm going for an IELTS review. What is a review? I know what review means, but I don't know what it means within the context of students doing IELTS, because what I think it means and what students think it means is two different things. So please let me know what you mean. Reading is very tough. How can I deal with it? I mean, how can I answer it? Again, that's a huge question which would take hours to explain. But I would say the first thing you need to do is read more. You cannot read for 1 hour in English in the test if you don't do that on a regular basis out of the test. So make the test easy by doing the hard work before the test by reading. Read anything you're interested in. Doesn't matter what you read, it's the fact that you are reading consistently. I'd also say learn all the different types of reading question. There are many of them, and learn how they are different and have a strategy for each of those different questions. And that will make it much easier for you. I need 7 in writing. Please show me the path. Again, that would take, I have a writing course which is 24 hours long. Like, I can't give a 1-minute answer to how can I improve my writing. Go to IELTSadvantage.com. There's a free mini course. Join it, and it will show you a lot of things. And then if you want to move to the next level, you can join one of my paid courses. I get this question every time. Which is better, IDP or the British Council? It doesn't matter. They're exactly the same. Focus on you. Focus on your preparation. That is what is going to make a difference, not whether you go to IDP or the British Council. Die wash. It'll be more helpful if you provide us frequently using words, synonyms in your page. Thank you very much for the advice about how to run my page, Daiwash. Roy Rorat, I don't get higher score even I use amazing ideas. The examiners just grade how do I answer the question. Okay, so there are no marks for amazing ideas. You do not get any extra marks for having amazing ideas. If that's what you think, I think the best thing that you could do is to understand how the writing test is actually marked. You can look up the official marking criteria, or on my website I have an article explaining it in simple terms. Most people don't know that, and it's really powerful information, so that would be my first suggestion. Tanya, when I want to speak about anything I can't, and doing several grammar mistakes and forget the word. Okay, so it seems like you just have a really negative outlook on everything. So you're saying like, I can't think of anything, I make lots of grammar mistakes, I forget all the words, like that might be your problem. If you go into the speaking test and you think like, I'm terrible, I can't think of any ideas, I don't know anything, my vocabulary is terrible, my grammar is... Like, do you think that you're going to be able to speak fluently in the test if that's the way you think about things? Like, I'm not telling you to think, everything is fine, but everybody makes mistakes. Like, what you need to do is figure out what your weak points are, figure out the specific mistakes that you're making, and fix those mistakes. Just do it bit by bit by bit. One brick at a time. You can't, the way you're thinking about everything is, I'm terrible, but I need to be great. So there's a huge gap between you thinking that you're terrible and getting to where you need to go. What you need to do is figure out how to get there and just do it step by step. A good teacher should be able to show you how to do that. I can't do it in a in a 20-second answer on a Q&A. What's the time needed for completing IELTS? It differs for every person. It's impossible to answer that question unless the person gives you all the information about them, their strengths, their weaknesses, how much time they have, their work commitments or family commitments, what their specific problems are. Some people can prepare in 2 weeks. Some people, it will take them 2 years, and everyone in between. How can I improve my vocabulary? Go here. So go to IELTS Advantage. Okay, go to the bottom here. Free IELTS vocabulary ebook. And put your email in there, and we will send you everything you need to know about improving your vocabulary. Do not send me your email address. Go to that page and put your email address in. Some people suggest doing task 2 before task 1 because it carries more weight. What is your opinion? Task 2 does carry more weight, but task 1 is really, really important. I'd say that for a lot of people, the reason why they're not getting the score they need is not task 2, it's because they're not getting task 1 done properly, for a lot of people. So aim to do 1 in 40 minutes and 1 in 20 minutes. Don't spend more time on one than the other. Do task 2 first if you want, but make sure you spend 20 minutes on task 1. It's really important. Diana, hello Chris. In a discuss both sides essay, is it essential to discuss both sides evenly? I don't really know what you mean by evenly. Or can one side be further discussed and developed to state my opinion? I don't really know what you mean, but both sides must be discussed. You shouldn't you shouldn't write 150 words about one side and only 50 words about the other. That's not how it works. Your main body paragraph should be relatively equal. Not exactly equal. Don't be counting words or anything like that, but relatively equal. Do I need to write using complex sentences in order to get a high score? Depends what you mean by a complex sentence. Most people don't understand what a complex sentence is. A complex sentence is basically a sentence with multiple clauses in it. It does not mean using really, really complex grammar and complex tenses and stuff like that. Those sentences, if you're not a native English speaker or you're not like a really high level user of English, are impossible for most people to write. Focus on getting your grammar correct first rather than worrying about complex sentences. You have to learn how to walk before you can run. Sazan, 1 hour is not enough for writing task 1 and 2. Do you agree with me? No, I don't agree with you at all. If you don't know what you're doing, then 1 hour is not enough. If you do know what you're doing, then 1 hour is more than enough. So find a good teacher, find a good course or whatever that can show you how to do it properly. And once you know how to do it properly, 1 hour, easy. Andrea, apart from practicing with a teacher, what other strategies do you suggest for get 8 in speaking? Let me show you this again. So if you go to IELTSadvantage.com, you have Writing Task 1, Writing Task 2, Speaking, Reading, Listening and Vocabulary. So just click on this, Speaking. You'll get all the speaking resources you want. Or join my course if you want. But if you want to do it for free, do it that way. If you want, to do it more effectively, join the course. You can do that. Here in the Philippines, those who want to pass the IELTS exam undergo review with review centres. From the general idea of IELTS to taking serious... I still don't understand that. I don't understand what a review centre is. So in order to review something, you have to kind of understand it already. So I think they're just like IELTS centres, but people in the Philippines call them review centres. And there's one review centre that I know in particular, a very popular one in the Philippines, and I'll not say the name of it, but I'm sure a lot of you know. Has 9 in the title. Simang, but with constant practice in writing, you'll be able to finish. Okay. Alright, so we're running out of time. I have to go. So thank you very much. Hope that you find that useful. Please do try planning versus not planning. You'll see a huge difference. If you don't get it immediately, just keep at it until you know how to do it properly, and it will really save you a lot of time and will lead to a higher score. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.